By now, the entire country would be aware that we will have had our elections. And elections day was a peaceful day. The conduct of the poll by all standards, including the comments made by the observers, has been exemplary. And in spite of some hiccups that they had from time to time, the overall polling was good. The results are being tallied, and I'll get back to that in a moment. But I wish to commend all Guyanese for the way they conducted themselves on elections day. I've heard that it's been promoted in some quarters that there is a vacuum in leadership in this country. And let me make it clear that there is absolutely no vacuum. The Constitution of Guyana provides for the president to demit office when the new president is sworn in, so that, and I guess in the minds of the frame of the Constitution, that you could not have a country without a president. Or are we to go to war, or there are some other problems that we had, then you would have had to have someone in the leadership of the country. So the Constitution is clear that there is a president until the new president is inaugurated. I've heard that this is being peddled to the security forces largely. And by now, the security forces are familiar with the Constitution and the laws of Guyana. I've been in contact with the leadership of the security forces, and I will be in direct contact with them throughout the period until the inauguration of the new president. They will take instructions from me as provided for by the Constitution. I've made it clear to them that what we train for, that is any eventuality for people to come on the street and harm others, that we will proceed according to plan to make sure that the environment is safe and that people can go about their business in a safe manner without being subjected to harassment and violence. And so the security forces have my clear instructions to deal with any act of violence against any citizen in the manner befitting those actions and also in accordance with the laws of this country. We have been fully mobilized. All the policemen are in line, and we will remain alert. Now, having said that, the elections have been completed a few days now, and we are extremely disappointed that GCOM has not announced the preliminary results. By now, all of the political parties that contested the elections know the results, because all of the parties were in polling stations. They had signed statements of poll that they all received after the counts were done. And by now, they have all tallied those statements of polls that they received from their agents who were in the polling places. So, but GCOM had asked that none of the parties declare prior to their announcement of the results. None of them claim victory or anything of the sort. And so it's incumbent upon them to accelerate the declaration of the preliminary results at least, so as to remove this unease and uncertainty that a lot of our citizens face, and which could be used to mobilize people through whisper campaigns and text messages, etc. I've seen many attempts to do this. So I'm urging GCOM to announce the preliminary results, which all the parties know already from their own statements of poll, immediately, as soon as possible. Now, I heard that someone was saying that because the PPP asked for recounting some boxes, that this would delay the announcement of the preliminary results. GCOM could have easily announced the preliminary results and then say that the PPP has asked for a recount in the following areas, the PNC has asked in the following areas, and the other parties, and only upon the recounts being done in these cases, we will then declare the final results. So at least the preliminary results are there and could only be altered if there was minor changes in the recount in those specific stations. Because they have used this, the request of the PPP for a recount in some boxes as the factor that delaying them from announcing the preliminary results, we have withdrawn our request for those counts. So there is absolutely no excuse for GCOM not to announce these results. As I said before, the delay in announcing the results have allowed many people, some parties, who have seen that they have lost the elections already, to start making excuses and to mobilize people around these uncertainties. So I have seen several text messages, they even come to my phone, from APNU saying, one, that they won the elections, two, that Serge Bali is working out a deal with the PPP, or he's in the elections on our behalf. Three, that they found ballot boxes in Vredenhoek. Four, that there's ballot boxes somewhere in Georgetown. All false. All false. And then the conclusion that we need to come out in large numbers, hit the streets. This is their traditional, the typical way of misleading people, bringing them on the street for false reasons. And they're using text messages now to do that because they're aware of the results. Even in the worst case scenario, even if anything happened with one of the boxes and all the boxes are accounted for by GCOM, nothing could alter the results. The results were known the night of the elections, because when in every single polling place you had people from the PNC, the PPP, AFC, you had GCOM officials all sitting around a table the entire day observing the poll, and then in the night observing the count. And when the count was completed, they all left there with a signed copy, each party, of the same statement of poll. They all have the same statement of poll. It can't be altered. GCOM went away with one, PPP went away with one, a carbon copy of it. The PNC went away with one, and AFC went away with one. How is it possible to change anything now? It is simple. It is simple. So, I urge Guyanese not to fall prey to this, once again, an attempt to mislead. But I have decided, and even before the campaign you've heard us say this, that we plan to take the toughest action here at home and internationally against any person who tried to mobilize people to create violence. Whether it's media, whether it's the websites, whether it's sending people text messages, or whether it is party public officials. We will write the United Nations to ask for total investigation of any violence that takes place, and to go after the people who are sending the text messages and urging people to violence. Those who are on the website, because they can be traced. Some people think that their comments that they may make anonymously there can't be traced. Well, they can be traced, particularly by an international team, and those politicians who make statements urging people to violence, and in some elements in the media. And I must say, over the past few days, our media has acted responsibly, the formal media. It's the websites and the others that I'm talking about now that I have grave concerns about. So we plan to do this, because this time around we're going to make an example of anyone who tries to perpetrate violence against any citizen. If a single person is hurt in the street, because it's time that we put this nonsense behind us. The elections were fought competitively. The polling there went well. People they were there to observe the count, the vote and the count. They have their statements of poll. It's just mathematics now to add up all of these, and then the results are known. If you contest and you lose, and the process has been fair, then you have to accept the results, not to try to change the game at the end. So I want to urge Guyanese again not to fall prey to these misleading attempts being made to bring people onto the streets. At the end of the day, we will go back to having a government in place that will continue to work, and these guys, the ones who try to mislead people, are going to disappear again. And those people who probably come out are misled will be the ones who face the brunt of the consequences. So I urge them not to be mobilized or to fall prey to this attempt to mislead. Any question?
I know GCOM has made a request for people to go, but how confident are you in a PPP victory?
Very confident, but we are not announcing any results. That is why it's so frustrating to us in the PPP. We know the results. We know the results. PNC knows the result. They're not stupid. They have tallied all of their statements of poll that they receive from their people. AFC knows. And the problem is that we can't say a word because GCOM has to make the announcement. And they have slowed down the entire process. If we all know on election night, basically by the morning, when all the statements have come in, where we are, why can't they accelerate the process with all the resources at their disposal?
John Robert, based on the information that you've received now, how soon is GCOM likely to make an announcement?
I gather Mr. Surjbali said to me, I spoke with him, and he said to me he's asked all the political parties, the leaders of the political parties, have agreed to appear with him on a television, a press conference, and also the prime ministerial candidates, to say to people that it's only GCOM's result that they should listen to, not to fall prey to these guys who are sending wrong text messages and also claiming victory. And he said to me, it's either today or tomorrow morning, tonight or tomorrow morning, that the results would be announced. That is what I heard from him. Yes. I've already asked that this be done, and not only this, we're documenting everything. I've asked the team to document every instance of violence, every instance of a person urging people to violence, politicians, others, every text message urging violence and bringing people out, every website that posts negative, these violent comments, etc. I've asked a team to start documenting every one of those things.
And lastly, what is government what is government plan to assure citizens of their safety, considering that the entire Joshua almost is shut down as of this week? Schools have been shut as well
Sure.
in the last hour or so.
Well, because of this, the climate of fear that some people are trying to generate through these text messages, people are only human, and they respond to that, and they want to go home. That is why I think it's an act of terror. Every time and people could be charged for this, because, and after the elections, that's why I said it's not only internationally, but locally, we'd have to take strong action against those people. Because when you send these text messages to parents, etc., in the schools, they're very worried. I'd go and take my child out of school if I see, this urge, people urging others to come out on the streets and create problems. So it is understandable, but my instruction to the Commissioner of Police has been clear, that to protect citizens in the city, and it's his job to do this. There's a law of this country to make sure that they don't succumb to violence.
Sorry to interrupt, next one was, has GCOM failed in its mandate to deliver?
I don't say they failed. They delivered a really good election so far. The problem is the announcement of the announcement, the declaration of the preliminary results. They say we are a bit unfair in expecting them to do it immediately, because the parties only have to add up. They have to check every statement of poll. So they say that we are a bit unfair, that all the parties are unfair in trying to get them to declare immediately. But it's the non-declaration of the results that breed unease and tension, and it allows these who are hell-bent on creating problems to succeed.
Gina, how would you describe the level of competitiveness based on the results that are being received compared to past elections?
I don't want to comment on that. There'll be time enough after the elections are over to comment on that aspect of it. But because if I get into that, then I'll have to get into our numbers. And we have made it clear that we will not speak of numbers now. That when the results are declared and the numbers are known, then we will speak about the competitiveness of the elections or not.
Andre Haynes, the South News.
Yes.
You say APNU is responsible for the text messages.
It says vote APNU X, that is it.
Have you confirmed that this is an official release from the APNU campaign?
No, I have not. And if APNU, it could not coming out from them. They should have an interest now to immediately deny it and to urge people not to believe this, because it is a campaign that will put them in a bad light. And so I would ask that you confirm it. Ask them whether it is coming from them and whether they publicly deny that this, and secondly, whether they would say that it is wrong and people should ignore these text messages. But it has, I received some texts from the same site prior to the elections that I received the text messages from now.
Can you also confirm a meeting with the foreign diplomatic?
Yes, the meeting is taking place now. They're being briefed about everything, including these matters. And as I said before, we're going to, if there's a single act of violence, we either have a local investigation or foreign, or both, and including the UN. Okay, thank you.